David, just explain to us what's going to be happening today in the Spectrum Centre.
Well, we're having a melody flute band contest. Probably the finest bands in Northern Ireland will be gathering here in the one area to compete against each other.
Normally people would see bands out marching out in the open air. Is it catching on, these indoor band competitions?
Well, they've been running about in Northern Ireland for a long while, but you know, what we're going to see here today is that bands are going to express themselves in a musical form that they can't basically do in the street. You know, maybe you maybe see timps, you'll see different percussion, you know, that they can't actually perform in the street. So you can see a lot of different things today, you know, that can't be done outdoors.
Billy, for people that don't understand, just explain what a melody band competition is all about.
Peter, melody band competition is an annual competition, generally speaking, used to let the melody bands, which is different from the Blood and Thunder bands, of course, to come and, what we would say, strut their stuff. And this competition is in its 4th year and has been progressively moving forward in the musical world of melody bands since then.
David, you're the adjudicator here today. What does that role entail?
Well, it's a very difficult task I've got today because these bands that are playing today are probably most of the finest bands in Northern Ireland. What I'm looking for is balance of all the parts in the music. The drums aren't overpowering the flutes or vice versa. And just real music the way that I've been brought up to believe that bands should sound.
I mean, you've got a lot of experience in the band culture. And how long have you been involved in bands?
Oh, I started when I was at primary school, you know, all my life really, and I've taught bands since I was about 16, and I really enjoy it, hearing tunes progressing and coming together, and you know, getting eventually played. And as I say, these bands are fantastic that are here today. It's a very hard, difficult task. Because it is a competition, the bands are striving each year to play better and better.
Yes, we find that each year the standard of the bands improve, whether that be the original bands who came in the first year and who continue to come back, or would be new bands coming for the first time. They have seen the other bands, and this in itself creates that competitiveness that you have in all areas of life, and in particular in the flute band world. And we have found that is increasing year on year.
What sort of number of tunes are there for bands to actually learn?
Well, what you're going to hear today isn't what you'll typically hear on the street all the time, which is generally marching music, military music. You will hear some of that today, but also a lot of these bands have now got added to their programme, you know, more pop tunes or jazz tunes and just various, you know, the world's your oyster to, you know, pick your programme from. And they've got them all arranged in 3, 4, 5 parts, and it's really fantastic to listen to. And also the extra percussion, you'll see tambourines and, you know, bongo drums and, you know, mouth organs if you wish. It doesn't matter. You can play anything you want to enhance the music.
And obviously, I mean, they have a captive audience here today, so there's going to be a good element of entertainment out there.
Without a doubt, there's going to be a great entertainment.
Nigel, you've been involved in the band scene for over 30 years. What has it given you over those years?
Well, apart from the music and everything like that, it's given me great friends, especially family connections and whatnot within the band. And I've watched fellas' sons grow up and get married, and they have children. So that's basically it. It's just a very friendly scene to be in.
And I mean, it is a family type of occupation as well, because I mean, there's sons, fathers, nephews, often all in the same band.
Absolutely. In actual fact, one of our drummers who's now retired, his 3 sons were in the band, and one of his sons is still in the band, and his 3 sons are now in the band. So that just shows you what the raving especially is about anyway.
Brian, you're from the Sons of Ulster Flute Band. What attracted you to the band culture in the first place?
Well, the attraction, you know, for to be out every week. First out, we walk worldwide, or well, Ulster-wide, weekly to promote the culture. So it was good to join the band, meet friends, meet people who are wanting to do the same thing as myself, and promote the culture throughout the country, and just let others see what the band's there for, what culture we are promoting, and how we do it by introducing new music weekly, by going to places we've never been before, by letting the younger members of the band see places they've never seen before. It just all comes together, and it's just something there for to attract you to it. You know, it's just to promote everything.
And just talking about young members, I mean, what age is the youngest member in your band, for example?
Well, we have from around 5-6-year-olds. Personally, my younger nephew's actually joined the band at the minute. He's 5-year-old, and he's learning the cymbals with the band. So we cater for a young range right up till as old as they want to go as well. You know, it's personal choice when they want to leave the band.
Drew, obviously we have some of the best bands in Northern Ireland playing here in the Shankill today. Just how alive and well is the band culture in Northern Ireland?
Well, it's up and coming, and it's, there's a great tradition within young folk throughout the province and beyond. I mean, the friendships that these bands meet up with other different bands throughout the province, and further afield than that, even in Scotland. And we have lads over here from Scotland today to take part in this event, which is going from strength to strength. And it's good to see young lads in the Defenders and other bands putting the time that they do put into it, maybe 3 nights a week after doing a day's work. So there's something to say for the bands in general throughout Northern Ireland. And I think it can only do better for the years that lie ahead, because there's some new musicians coming out of these bands who are now taking part in bands with regiments of the British Army. So it goes a long way of saying of how great the time and the part of our culture. That's one of the main things too, that they're now advancing to go into bands within regiments at the join of the British Army, which is a good thing too.
Robert, I understand the Defenders have a big anniversary coming up. Just tell us about that.
Yes, next year is our 40th anniversary in the band. We're hoping to do a few concerts in the course of the year, also to release a new CD showing the music we've played over the last few years, and also to and do a few more competitions and concerts during that year. Hopefully it'll be a big year and well supported for us.
Adam, you've been in your band for a couple of years and already you've been playing with a very famous band. Just tell us about that.
Yeah, I travelled over to London and played with the Coldstream Guards for a day and done a concert in the Guards Chapel with them.
So what has it attracted you to the band in the first place?
Well, when I leave next school after next year, I've always wanted to join a melody band, so I wanted to see what they play like.
So obviously you've got a head start in that you're already playing with the band at the minute.
Yeah, I've tried to get a head start so we can see what it's all like.
And how are you liking it so far?
It's a good experience, so I can know what I have to do and what not to do.
Caroline, you've been in the band scene for over 20 years. What do you get from it?
Basically, I enjoy meeting other people who have the same interests as myself, playing in the brass band scene. We're playing different contests throughout the year, we do put on different concerts for different organisations. It's just the enjoyment of playing with people who enjoy playing as well, just with the same sort of background.
And how much time does it take in your week, allowing for practice and stuff like that?
We have a weekly rehearsal, one evening a week, sort of for 2 hours, and then up to yourself during the week for your own personal practice.
So would you recommend it to any other young ladies out there?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's good fun, it's enjoyable.
You actually started to learn music way back in primary school. Did you think you'd still be performing 20 years later?
Not at the time, no notion at all, didn't even know brass bands existed at the time. Just as I progressed through playing, was introduced to the scene and have just come to thoroughly enjoy it, so stuck at it.
Joy, you're one of the few female fluters in Northern Ireland. What got you interested in the band scene in the first place?
Well, first of all, one of my best friends was in the previous band I was in, and she told me to come down, and it was an opportunity to meet some new people and something different to do. So I thought I would go down and give it a try, and I've been there ever since.
And what are the good things about being a band? I mean, what do you take out of it?
Well, it gives you a dedication. I myself travel 36 miles down to Kilkeel. I live just outside Lisburn, so I travel down every Thursday night. You learn a certain aspect of discipline because you have to keep in time and obey the rules when you're in the ranks.
So you'd recommend it to other young ladies?
Oh, definitely. Not only is it a way to meet new people and make friends, lifelong friendships.
Carrick, you've been a flute player for over 40 years now. For anybody thinking of joining a band or taking it up, how long does it actually take to learn to play the flute?
Well, it just depends on the standard of band you're going to play in. Some bands, I'm sure, if you're a good enough young fella, 6 months practice and then getting into the tunes that they're playing would probably within a year they should be able to play. In our own circumstance, we normally have young boys probably have to learn for 2 years and then spend another year and a half trying to catch up with boys who've been on for a long time, you know.
How many tunes roughly would your band, for example, have in its repertoire?
Well, on the street, we would normally play only between 20 and 25 marches or something like that. But with indoor contests like this here, where we have the music in front of us, it's really infinite. You know, some of the stuff we're playing tonight, we've only actually started on Monday. So it's depending on how difficult it is. It only takes sometimes a week, 2 weeks, as long as you're playing inside and have the stuff in front of you. You know, you can. It's quite easy just to read it off the page in front of you.
Kenny, you've been involved in the band scene for over 3 decades. What have you taken from it in those years?
Great enjoyment, and for the young people, it's getting young people involved, and it's a way of life. Bringing in, we're a melody band. We've brought in melody tunes. We've brought the young people through. Really enjoy that. And yeah, it's just a part of our life, a part of our culture.
Obviously, you say a way of life. I mean, every weekend you're away somewhere different.
Every weekend we're away somewhere different, maybe 2 nights a week. We're practicing on maybe a Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, going out on a Friday and Saturday night. So it does take up a good part of your spare time. And as I say, I'm at it now 30 years, and hopefully I'll be at it another 30 years.
Russell, a band like Dunloy Accordion, you're playing right through the year. You've been telling me that over the 12th you played 11 days in a row. I mean, is that almost not like being a professional musician?
Well, it's almost like a full-time job sometimes. It just depends on the nature of the concert. The 12th is a busy period with the marching band, and then they had 12 festivals around the Coleraine area, so we were booked for those as well. But if you do that number of nights in a row, it feels like you're full-time rather than part-time at it, you know.
A lot of travelling involved, a lot of time on the road. How does that affect your family?
Well, you sort of try and fit it in. A lot of us have been in the band for a long number of years. I've been in it 25 years, and some of the other fellas and girls have been in for nearly just as long. They accept it and they know it's just part of the thing you do, you know, so there's no way around it. It's not always easy at holiday times and stuff like that, you know, but it's just part and parcel of who you are, really, you know. In the winter time we would do about 40 concerts a year. Our marching season ends around October-ish time, beginning of October, and then we would take on the concerts and we play at any venues, church halls and fetes and charity events, and locally in Ballymoney area, up around Belfast here, anywhere at all, and that would stretch right through until about April when the parades start again. We try and not mix the two too much. We try and finish the concerts before the parade starts, and the same at the end of the parade season, so yeah, it's pretty good.
Stuart, you've been involved in the band scene for nearly 40 years. What sort of things has it given you over the years?
Well, it's given me a lot of friendship and camaraderie, and it's given me an outlet to develop music skills. It also helps within the community from getting young people in, taking them off the streets. And the way we would operate, we would try and give them a bit of an education in music, and even if they wish to, we would help them and certainly encourage them to develop their flute skills within the schools, and to encourage them even to go on and do exams in music, certainly at GCSE level, but also we would encourage them to do grades, and you know, just try to develop them as players. And if you develop your own players, then your own band and the whole band scene will get the benefit of that.
Mark, you've come down from Cookstown today to take part in the competition here. Just how much travel is involved when you're in a band?
Well, you're travelling about, every weekend you're out at parades. We started in March and our last parade was start of October. And now we're into concerts, we're into indoor work, so we've maybe about 6 or 7 concerts between now and Christmas. So you're travelling nearly every week of the year. It's getting to be, it's getting longer every year just.
You're talking there about concerts, so I mean, you're not just restricted to the marching season, you're playing right through the year?
Yes, that's right. We do as many parades as we can throughout the year, plus then we do indoor concerts, come to Belfast here for a few of the contests, and we run a few indoor concerts ourselves throughout the year as well in Burnavon and Cookstown.
So do you think, I mean, the line's becoming blurred now between marching bands and the like of brass bands that would just purely play concerts?
I don't know, well, out on the road, the likes of the 12th, it's nice to have the silver bands, your selection, your silver, your accordion, your pipe bands, all that there. But then again, you have the likes of this as a contest for flute bands itself. So it's hard to know. You have your bands for the road, you have bands for concerts as well, and contests. So it takes you to doing both now.
Stephen, a lot of people don't realise just how high the standard of musicianship is in the bands that are taking part in these sort of competitions. I mean, just explain that sort of level to us.
I suppose we, as part of the band scene, we're seeing some of the senior bands, we have great flute bands here in Northern Ireland, probably the best flute bands in the world. And we've all came from basic traditional tunes onto sort of simple marches, on the more difficult marches, and then on to some of the light classical pieces that we're playing now. And where I suppose we're always trying to improve the standard. I suppose it's a thing called continuous improvement, and that part of that continuous improvement is always trying to improve your music. And it's very sad in a way that maybe not everybody's coming to hear the music. Sometimes people will say a flute band, and I know we had a barbecue recently, and there's people who hadn't seen bands in the 70s, and they got a show at our barbecue, they just couldn't believe the standard of the music we were able to play. So it's part of the continuous improvement process of the band scene in Northern Ireland.
And what is it that attracts people to the band culture?
I've been in bands all my life, and Northern Ireland is just basically, they come off the street, they might have been listening to bands, and it's the beat.
The winners of today's comp is William King Memorial.
And obviously, I mean, it's a good thing for young people in that it does get them off the streets.
Of course, I mean, we've a lot of youth in their own band, by bringing off the street and teaching them music, proper music. And my own son himself, is going through the levels of music, and definitely a great thing. Bands are good, without a doubt.
And I really enjoy it, hearing tunes progressing and coming together, and getting eventually played. And as I say, these bands are fantastic that are here today. It's a very hard, difficult task.
because it is a competition, the bands are striving each year to play better and better?
Yes, we find that each year the standard of the bands improve, whether that be the original bands who came in the first year and who continue to come back, or would be new bands coming for the first time. They have seen the other bands, and this in itself creates that competitiveness that you have in all areas of life, and in particular in the flute band world. And we have found that is increasing year on year.
David, just explain to us what's going to be happening today in the Spectrum Centre.
Well, we're having a melody flute band contest. Probably the finest bands in Northern Ireland will be gathering here in the one area to compete against each other.
Normally people would see bands out marching out in the open air. Is it catching on, these indoor band competitions?
Well, they've been running about in Northern Ireland for a long while, but you know, what we're going to see here today is that bands are going to express themselves in a musical form that they can't basically do in the street. You know, maybe you maybe see timps, you'll see different percussion, you know, that they can't actually perform in the street. So you can see a lot of different things today, you know, that can't be done outdoors.
Billy, for people that don't understand, just explain what a melody band competition is all about.
Peter, a melody band competition is an annual competition, generally speaking, used to let the melody bands, which is different from the blood and thunder bands, of course, to come and, what we would say, strut their stuff. And this competition is in its fourth year and has been progressively moving forward in the musical world of melody bands since then.
David, you're the adjudicator here today. What does that role entail?
Well, it's a very difficult task I've got today because these bands that are playing today are probably most of the finest bands in Northern Ireland. What I'm looking for is balance of all the parts in the music. The drums aren't overpowering the flutes or vice versa. And just real music the way that I've been brought up to believe that bands should sound.
I mean, you've got a lot of experience in the band culture. I mean, how long have you been involved in bands?
Oh, I started when I was at primary school, you know, all my life really, and I've taught bands since I was about 6.